Between the Covers, the show for readers, writers, and lovers of books. I'm Stephanie, and I'm so thrilled that you're joining us today. I'm a publisher at Red Penguin Books and work with authors of all types and genres. So whether you have a book manuscript all ready to go, or maybe even 200 pieces of loose leaf shoved in a drawer, yes, I do have authors give me loose leaf shoved in a drawer, or your book might just be an idea in your head, visit redpenguinbooks.com and unleash your inner author. Well, I am joined today by three authors who have absolutely unleashed themselves, because we have some fabulous books to talk about today. And these authors are from all around the world. Poppy Kuroki is joining us from Japan.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning for you. Good morning tomorrow for you, I believe. Moe S.D. is joining us from Washington State on the west coast of America. And Izzy Hodder is joining us from Ireland. So good morning, good evening, good afternoon. We're all over the place today on this show, aren't we? Thanks so much for joining me, everybody. And thanks for waking up.
Thanks for having us.
Poppy had to wake up early. Izzy had to stay up late. We're all over the place today. So thanks for joining me on the show.
Thank you for your comments.
Poppy, I have to say, I absolutely adore the cover of your book, Bards.
Oh, thank you very much.
Oh my gosh, it is just stunning. And please tell us a little bit about the book and about you.
Okay, well, as you know, my name is Poppy Kuroki. I live in Enoshima, Japan. I've lived here for about 6 years. And this novelette, it's about 15,000 words, so it's a fast read. It's about a bard called Ella, who she and her sister work in a tavern to pay off their mother's debt. So their mother died and left them a lot of debt. Ella luckily can play music, so she plays music for all the patrons and she gives half of her earnings to the landlord. Her sister does not have any musical talent, so she has to work as a prostitute. And there's a terrible secret that this town has that Ella knows all about, but she can't do anything about it. But she is sort of doing something about it because her music carries codes for spies to decipher and pass along. So she and her sister are both doing that. But it came from a sort of feeling of knowing bad things happen around you, but being completely powerless to do anything about it. And also I love music, and bards tend to be a kind of side character in fantasy. So I thought, oh, I want to write about, instead of writing about a hero with a sword, who's the chosen one, who gets the magical artifact to take down the Dark Lord. Stories like that are fantastic, don't get me wrong, but I wanted to do sort of, like Ella she's no one special really, apart from her music, she's just an ordinary girl. So I love fantasy, but I wanted to sort of have a story about someone who's like kind of regular and just wants to help make the world a better place, but doesn't really have any special powers like regular people in real life.
I love that, because you're so right. Fantasy is always about people that are like so much cooler than we are.
Yes. or secret royal or something.
Oh, always secret royals, that's for sure. How did you get your start writing?
Start writing anything.
Anything, yes.
Yeah. Oh, I remember writing back in elementary school. Like, I'd love the rainy days. We didn't have to go outside, so I'd like get paper and fold it and then like write a story. I wrote some weird story about an alien abduction when I was about 10. I have no idea what that is now. And then I think I was talking to my mum about it, and she loves books. Like, she had books all over the house. Like, she had a couple of books holding up like a desk. Like, one of the legs was shorter. So like they were everywhere. So she loved books. So she was happy. So she sort of helped me get started with a story about like a girl who finds out she's an alien with fire powers. I had like Freaky Friday and X-Men. They were like, it was like a mishmash of that. And I wrote like 4 or 5 books on like this massive old computer in the noughties. I'd like type thousands of words a day. So yeah, since I was a kid, I wanted to be a writer. I know a lot of people say that, but yes, it was the only thing I really ever wanted to do.
Well, a lot of people say that, but you're really doing it. And that is so amazing that you are really, really doing it. I have to ask for our viewers, because I know the answer, of course. You live in Japan, but that's not a Japanese accent I'm hearing.
I moved here when I was like 19 for a study abroad. I forgot the English word for a second. The study abroad year, and I really enjoyed it. So I decided to come back, and then I met my husband, and then we bought a house here in Hiroshima. So I go back home sometimes, but when I go back home, I always miss Japan. Like I get homesick for Japan. So I think I probably belong here at this point. So
I think after all these years, you absolutely do. Where was home originally? Now home is Japan, but where was home before?
I grew up in the north part of England. So I was actually born in Scotland, and my parents live in Scotland again now. So we lived all over the place, like Liverpool, Cumbria, the Peak District, and I went to university in York. So really all over the place. So I never really got attached to any particular town in England either. I think it probably helped with the moving. So I think I've actually lived in Japan longer than I've lived in a single town in the UK.
Really?
Does that make sense?
What's the weather like in Japan? Is it nicer than the weather in England?
It's very four seasons, so it's cold in winter, hot in summer. Summer is ending finally. It gets so hot here. It was 37 degrees Celsius the other day, which I think it's around 98
That's hot.
Fahrenheit, plus 100% humidity. So it got a bit unbearable for a while, but it's nice and cool today. Don't even need my fan, which is good because it would be really noisy.
Well, I'm glad you love it there. Now tell me about what you do for a living, because I know it has to do with writing.
Yeah. So I used to be a teacher here, but since I got my spouse visa, it's a bit more, what's the word? Like flexible. So I could kind of do what I wanted. And then my contract for my part-time teaching job ended in March. And then of course COVID hit. So I did apply for a few teaching jobs, and one company was like, oh yeah, but COVID, so we can't really hire you right now. And then I'd been ghostwriting since October last year, and then that took off. And now I do that full time. I don't even have time for a teaching job now. So
Wow. Now, do you ghostwrite fantasy or do you ghostwrite other genres?
all kinds of genres. I'm doing fantasy at the moment, and I've also done like paranormal romance. I'm doing a time travel thriller right now. I've done horror as well. People don't seem to mind. Like on my profile, it says science fiction fantasy is my speciality, but people come up to me like with non-fiction, which I have to say no to. Yeah, I don't know. I prefer the fiction side because I'm actually in a position where I can say no now, which is really nice. But no, it's a bunch of different genres. It's fun, but it's hard work.
Oh, I bet it's hard work. I bet it's very hard work to try to crawl into someone's brain. Now, it's funny, Poppy, because I ghostwrite too, but I only ghostwrite nonfiction. So.
Oh, right. I'll give you those clients then.
You and I could take on the world together.
Like, go talk to Stephanie. Go talk to Stephanie.
Now, is there a ghostwriting project out there? Maybe it's a special genre or something that you are hoping to get, something that hasn't come along, or maybe it's going to be your next book. What's that next thing that you want?
Well, I've ghostwritten a few where I'm like, oh, this idea is actually really good. I hope it's a success. But I was asked like a few weeks ago, are there any ghostwriting projects you wished you were yours? And I'm like, no, they're not mine, they're theirs. But I understood the question, but I've had some really bad ones, which is really fun because I have to make it good. So that's quite funny. But ones that I wish I'd get, I'd rather have the best ideas would be in my book, because of course I don't get credited for ghostwriting.
Oh, that's very true. So what is your next book going to be? Just from Pop.
The next one is a fantasy novel. It's fantasy, but it's not related to A Bard's Lament. So it's actually in a whole different universe and everything. Oh. And yeah, so that one's about a homeless woman who decides to travel to a different city for like a better future. And when she's caught stealing, she's sort of forced to pledge an oath to the goddess of death to be an assassin. So she thinks to herself, I'm selfish, I don't want to die, I choose life, I'll become an assassin. And she's kind of leading a double life, because she makes friends with like a local priestess as well. So she's like got two lives going on, and was a lot of fun to write, and it's been through so many readers and editors that it's finally coming out maybe next month. The front cover's being created now, so that's what's happening.
Well, congratulations. And when the new book is released,
thanks.
I'll have to get you back on the show so we can hear.
Yes, please do.
Absolutely.
How lovely of you. Thank you.
Even if it means waking you up at 7 o'clock in the morning.
No problem. I'd wake up at 3 a.m. for you.
Oh, that's too sweet. That's absolutely too sweet. What is your favorite thing about being a writer?
Well, whenever I'm out and about, I always get ideas all the time. So I just kind of shelf them away. And I just can't imagine people going through their lives not getting story ideas. Do you know what I mean? And I'm sure you know what I mean, right, everyone?
All of our
So-
other writers here know exactly what you mean. But I have to ask you, your brain is just filled with these stories. When you're writing, like the book that you're writing now, although that one, it sounds like it's on its final finish. Do you know how your books and stories are going to end before you start, or are you surprised also?
Yes, I always have an outline. I can't pantser, is that what it's called?
Yes, pantser.
I can't, because I'll get to like chapter 6 or 7 and then hit a wall. So I'll always have the very basic outline. Like I'm writing a new one right now, like a steampunk one. And I know what's going to, even though I usually start with the beginning and the end and kind of make up the middle as I go along to like flesh it out. That's how I usually do it.
Oh,
But
okay.
if I've got the ending, I'm like, okay, this is going to happen. Whereas if I only have the beginning, I'll kind of sit on it for a few weeks and see if it becomes anything else. But if I start and I don't know what's going to happen, 90% of the time, I'm going to not finish it.
Poppy, I'm not a fiction writer, but I'm with you. I would want to know how it's going to end. It's kind of like getting into the car and you don't know where you're going.
Right, yeah. And then expecting to arrive somewhere amazing. I mean, I completely respect people who can just write something amazing, including an amazing ending. Like, power to you, you know?
Yes.
But personally, I couldn't. I don't think so.
I've said the same thing. I've wanted to have that experience that I've heard writers who are pantsers say that they could be sitting at their computer and typing and say, "Oh, I can't believe they just died," or something. And I'm thinking, didn't you kill them? You know, I think I'd love that experience, but I don't know that I could ever let go enough to do that.
Yeah, I'm completely with you on that one. Like, I'm like, oh, okay. Wasn't this your idea? Because yeah, people are like, oh, I was writing and then the character did something I just didn't expect. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I always
I
think
don't get that. I don't know. I mean, sure, it must be a thing, but for me, it's not. It's like, I wrote this. So
yeah, I
that's what
can't
happened.
imagine someone just takes over my fingers or something. I'm not really sure how that works.
I suppose if they're so into the character that the character is like developing faster than they can keep up with, I suppose that's what it is, right? But just the way it's worded, it just sounds interesting.
Yes. Now, I must say, I think it's rather funny that you are in Japan and I see behind you a little Pokemon on the floor. Is that right?
Yeah.
How come I knew that if I had an author in from Japan that there would be a Pokemon on the floor there?
Yeah, well, I have toys all over the place. I just decided, well, the candy corn was just there anyway, because like I had a student over and she was playing with it. And then when I tested the webcam, I was like, oh, Pikachu would look nice there. So
Oh,
thank you for noticing.
absolutely.
I'll have to get more and just completely cover the floor with them.
Yes, well, I hate to be stereotypical, but that's kind of not shocking to me that there's a Pikachu on the floor right there.
It's those UFO catcher machines, you know, the claw machines.
Oh, yes, yes.
It's so addictive. So you're just like, I'll just have a go. And then you go home with like 10 toys, like, this is a good day.
Okay, you can actually get a toy out of those? I just lose my money.
Yeah, they're fairly fair. And sometimes, depending on the staff, they'll be like, oh, which one do you want? And they'll like move it towards the hole
Oh,
for you
you
to get.
nicer people where you live than where I live, that's for sure.
But they're basically scams at home. You're right. Like in the UK too, you can't really win anything, but they're all right here. Yeah.
All right, I'm coming to Japan next. That's it. Maybe I'll film live at your place and we, you know, you don't have to travel or get up early. We do that. Thank you so much. Our next author is, well, I guess
Thank
I'll
you.
say right across the Pacific Ocean. Moe is in Washington State, so the west coast of America. And Ksneia and the World of Inspiration is grown out of Moe also being an artist. So he is an artist and a writer. So Moe, it is so great to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me here today.
Oh, you're very
Actually, I have a question. Can I ask her a question?
sure.
How she get inspired? Yeah, I just want to ask her a question. How she get inspired for her, like the next book?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Who inspired A Bard's Lament?
Yes, who inspired that?
I mean, how do you get your ideas?
The girl who inspired the bard in this is actually a YouTube singer who I love. Oh god, this is gonna sound really, really dorky, but she does video game music covers, and I just love her. She's so talented, and she seems like such a nice person. She always responds to her fans, even though she's super famous and popular. So I had her, who, like, people call her a bard because she does like fantasy music, and then I had that feeling of knowing you know, bad stuff happens around you can't do anything about it. So I had those together. I actually wrote this book like 3 years ago. I was just sitting on it for ages before I published it. So yeah, thanks Maluka if you're listening.
So your characters coming from real life, friends, people you know?
Yeah, sometimes just get elements of people, because for me, making a character is the hardest, one of the most challenging parts of writing a book. So I won't base someone completely on someone, like, I don't know that YouTube singer, right? I just created someone from how she appears in her videos. But yeah, if someone has like a really funny quirk or a really odd fear, I'll sometimes like pinch that and just kind of store it away. Thank you for the question. And very
awesome. Well, Mo, tell us about your book.
Okay. I am an artist and writer, and what I think, like, I have my bachelor degree in art, and I got my master degree, and I study philosophy, and that like has big impact on my thinking. Actually, what I think, like, art and writing, it's like one thing, but it's like one coin has two faces. Since I was a child, I used to draw. Like, I draw my subjects coming from like nature, from what, like landscape or still life. And with each time I need to describe my work. Like, I need to tell people why I choose this color, why this, for example, why this shape, why this tree. So my work is like, my writing started where it was associated with my painting. So my work is like, I can call this like first stage from my life, where I reflects my writing reflects my painting, and my painting reflects the real world. What I mean by real world, like material world, like object world, anything you can touch or you can see. And then from that, when I finished my degree, my thinking started to change, especially when after I studied philosophy. It's got me to the point where the idea, should I follow the idea before I follow the thing or object. I like very much, I like Plato, and his idea about the idealism, the perfection, like something perfect, like perfect world, where like we are like reflection of that world. And I like another idea where they consider there is a goddess for inspiration, like for goddess for the for people that inspire poetry or art or music or love or anything. So on this stage, I started to think, how can I use the idea instead of using the object and make it inspire me? So I started reading a lot. So now, but in the end, I found myself like I am just trying to do. It is just trying to manipulate the real and existent ideas, like in the like from other artists or writers. And I don't see like there's any real creativity in that, because it's what I'm doing. I find myself, it's just like a just thing and trying to do like out of something. Yeah, I mean, for example, if you see like there's some artists, they do and I was one of them. Like when we do, like I say, this is my work, this is my art. But in the real things, when you come to my work, like you check it out, you see it's coming, the style, the textures coming from other artists, like maybe from Picasso. It's like I am translate the soul of another artist in my work. It's the same thing doing in my writing, trying to convey another ideas and try just to change them or something like that. So yes. So in this case, I thought I need to do something to improve my thinking in order to be more able to create something like tell people who I am, you know, because in the end we are like maybe the first thing we think about, oh, I want my name on my book and this is a big achievement, my name. But in the real, like I thought, like I am here on the earth, I want to do something, make people say, oh, this is him, this is like, this is who, like this person, this is his like, how do you say, this is his feature, this is his thinking. So what I did, I started doing meditation, and it's like I try to eliminate all thoughts around me, all pictures. So I started like sitting by myself, like 30 minutes every day, just by myself, thinking, just taking all pictures. I trying to discover myself. And in the end, I found myself, in facing new things. It's like new experience, the experience where I started find, instead of searching for idea, for example, I found the inspiration just like appear in my life. For example, the book Ksneia and the World of Inspiration, it is part from a series of books, 6 books. I already wrote them. I am done with them, but I published already 2 of them. One, Ksneia and the World of Inspiration, and the second one, The Journey to the Tree with the 7 Faces. I found my the book, the idea, the inspiration came from dream. Like after I had my like session sitting by myself 30 minutes, I went to sleep and I had a dream, and the dream became, it's like put a question in my life. And when I wake up in the morning, I find myself really in front new things. The dream, for example, my dream, it was fantasy dream. Like I felt in my dream, for example, 3 elements. One of them, I saw myself as a bird. And this is why the series of my books is called The Bird with the Blue Blood. And the first thing, I saw myself as that kind of bird, looking in his dream, saying something so amazing, beautiful, with all kinds of color. And it's like something started talking to me and telling me, do you know me? I said, no, but you are the most beautiful thing I have ever seen. Then I know it's like crazy thing. So what I said, but and the thing, it told me, do you know which color I am? I said, no, but you are the most beautiful thing I have ever seen. The thing asked me, if you want, you can search for me. I said, but how can I find you? How can I know you? The voice told me, I will tell you I like blue color without asking me. But the condition, don't be late. So when I wake up from the morning, I am really in front of case. There's somebody out there who want me to search and find him, her, or it. I don't know, and it's gonna approach me in the way where it's gonna tell me without asking him or her or whatever. He's gonna come and ask me, I like a blue color. So this is like really, it was big change in my thinking. And from that, what I'm telling you, what I did as painter, I was every day like going everywhere, meeting people, trying, who's that person? How can I meet him? And even like I thought one time I draw 7 pictures, each one in different color, take like flowers, 7 flowers, each one a different picture, putting them in my bucket wherever I go. For example, I say, do you like painting? He said, yes, I show you the picture. I hope you tell me I like blue colors. It's like crazy stuff, you know? It's like I lived this dream really in my life, day by day, until one day I was in my school when there is somebody, believe me, without anything, she came and she approached me and she told me, I like blue color. This is what I said. I said, I've been looking for you for a long time. She was surprised. Yeah, believe me. Yeah, this is what happened.
Yeah.
From this idea, I wrote the story. I stole my story because what I do usually when I do description or shorter story, it's about 1 page to 3 pages. I wrote a short story about a bird, which is 3 pages and now became 6 books. The first 2 books of them, Ksneia, and the other book, The Journey to the Tree, which is the fantasy, full of fantasy, adventure, and like love and all this kind of stuff. So I wrote like a bird flying. He saw the dream because I saw myself as a bird. So I drew myself. I said there were a bird saw a dream and started following his dream, searching from place to place, from continent to continent, leaving his friend, everybody. He got some place where he heard a voice coming to him. It's the same voice in his dream telling him, I like blue colors. So the bird just I found you. Yeah. So this is from the, huh?
Remind them about your
Yeah, okay.
bird, yes.
Yeah, so from that, the bird, but now I don't understand one feature. Why in my dream it says, don't come late? Why don't come late? But the bird, saw her. She is with other with another person on the another ship with different person. So what the bird says, like, I came late. I want to use I came late here. I came late. She is with another person, but I don't want to do anything. I just want to be like a spirit following her ship and see her. But he cannot be like, that cannot like make him feel comfortable because she was visiting for a long time. So, and it's like started, something hit him and the bird fell down from the sky to fall down on the deep ocean, on the bed of the ocean. Imagine the picture now I am giving you, like painting here, how I use the picture.
I have a question.
Yeah. Yes.
Sorry, Stephanie, go ahead.
No, go right ahead.
Oh, I was going to ask, do you think meditation helps for writers? Like, you said you sat down for 30 minutes a day thinking. Does that help you?
This is what I think. This is my experience, and since that, I tell you like about strange thing like this, you will be so surprised. Which I have short stories also I wrote about them. One of them on stone. Stone, it's like the story. If you heard the story, you will be so surprised. But let me finish this one because this one related with our book. So the bird fell down, and I want you to imagine painting. Don't imagine only words, because this is my work. It is inspiration, story, and paintings. Watch paintings, it's rely on my inspiration. The inspiration give me the way how I can use the style the color. Now the blue color, you see, it is the dominated color in all my work in this. So the bird fell down on the sky, and from the sky on the deep ocean, his blood everywhere, his feather everywhere. He started he took one of his feather as a brush and used his blood as paint, and he started painting his picture on the bed of the ocean. And when he did that, he figured what he saw his blood is blue. He discovered his blood is blue. What that's mean? That's mean. What that's mean. When you say his blood blue, that means he was entirely blue, in blue colors. So when his inspiration was looking at him at that time, she told him, "I'm going to tell you I like blue color." She meant to tell him, "I'm going to tell you I like you," because he was flash and feather, everything in a blue color.
Wow.
So from that, and how this connected in my art, it is connected in my art through, now it was a dream. So dream, I described the dream it's as abstract work. When they meet in real life, it became reality, where I shift from the abstract to the reality work. And then because she became a dream forever now, because I hope to meet her again, now we come back to abstract again. So now I didn't choose the style in my work. I didn't choose the color in my work. I didn't choose even like the shape, the events. Everything is just coming from my inspiration. And this is what I think the real inspiration if you want to get yourself out from the effect of other things, like the object things like all the materials around us. You need to find yourself. Last thing, and I will leave everything for you. I met one of the artists. He has like more than 600 paintings. I went to his studio and checked all his work, and in each and every one of them, he used to tell me story. This is me. This is my wife. This is how my son. But in each and every one, and this is what I told him, in each and every one, I saw the soul of another artist. I see Picasso, the style of Picasso, or the Kandinsky in some of his work. I see the style, the shape. It's just coming from Vincent van Gogh coming from another artist, all reflection in his work. I told him, you need to find yourself. I mean, it is very important if it is writing or, this is what I think, if it is writing or painting, somebody need to find himself in order to tell the world, this is me.
Absolutely. Well, I love how different your inspiration is from Poppy's inspiration, because every writer is different. I know our last author for the evening, Izzy Hodder, is inspired by completely different things in her writing. And someone like you is something that grew out, I don't know, Izzy, did it grow out of meditation or did it grow out of real life here?
I don't think I was a meditator when I wrote someone like you. I wrote someone like you when I was 18. So I was in my last year of high school, and I literally wrote it. I mean, I love writing and I've always wanted to be a writer, but I didn't want to study for my final exams. And everyone was so busy studying that I didn't know what to do with myself in all this free time. So, yeah, someone like you, kind of like what Poppy said, that she got her inspiration from a YouTube singer.
Uh-huh.
I actually remember one weekend I was sick home from school or something, and I ended up like in this like spiraling downhill on YouTube, you know, when you just like keep going and going. And I ended up watching loads of videos about young pregnant females, and I was so fascinated because I thought it was so underrepresented in like our media and our films. And I like have been a big reader for a long time, and I remember thinking, God, I've only read one book where a young pregnant female was the main character in the novel.
Was it the opposite of chocolate?
It wasn't. So there's another book.
Oh, that would have been wild. Okay. Because that was one book I've read with a pregnant teen in it too. But
I felt like I was like, wow, this is really strange. I'd read, it was called Baby, actually, the name of the book that I had read. And so I just kind of started writing, and I think I'm similar to you, Poppy and Stephanie, as well, that I know my ending and I know my start. Like, I write the ending first and write the start and the middle, but maybe what do you guys call it? A prancer, is it?
A pantser. It's a writer who is flying by the seat of their pants. That's the...
Oh, okay.
You're flying by the seat of your pants. You're a pantser, or you're a plotter. You plot everything in advance.
I love that word. It makes us sound evil. Plotter.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And quite frankly, I think a lot of writers are a little bit of both. They might plot, like Poppy was talking about, she knows how it's going to end, but that stuff in the middle could get some development. And I'm sure even someone who is a complete pantser, and I think that our Moe here is much more of a pantser in that he seems to be acting more from a guttural inspiration. I would think that he's an intelligent writer. Obviously, anyone who could plot out 7 books, there has to be plotting in there when you're doing 7 books. So Izzy, you might be a plotter, but I'm sure...
I think I'm a bit of both, because I didn't really know what any of them were going to do as the chapters went on. They were surprising me. Naturally, I was making them surprise me, but they were surprising me, which is great.
Oh, that must have been fun to write. I hear from people who are pantsers that they love being surprised, because if they plotted it, it would be like they already saw the movie. Is that how you felt it?
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like with someone like you, it kind of, I don't know if you guys feel this way about your books, but they kind of grow their own legs and arms, and they like take on a life of their own, and your characters are suddenly doing something that you didn't plan for them. And even at the moment, I'm working on a new book, and the main character, I adore her, but I find as the chapters are progressing, I'm creating maybe a not so likable character, but I still adore her, but my attitude towards her is changing, and I don't know if that's her or me. And it's just really interesting to see how your characters develop.
Well, then you must really be terrific at character development.
Yeah, for sure.
Like someone and hate them at the same time.
I don't know how I feel about her.
No, that's terrific, because if your character was a flat character, then you would like them or hate them. But the fact that you can have multiple feelings about this character means that you're really getting across a multi-dimensional person. That's amazing.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed, anyways.
Tell us a little bit about that new book that you're working on.
So the new book I'm working on is called Her Word at the moment. It could change. And it's about a sexual assault at a party, and it follows the night of the party, the trial, and a case. But I've wrote it from the perspective of all the people that this one night and this crime has an impact on.
All the people? Does it
well, not all the people. It would be far reached, I'm sure. It would be someone really far away. But the main characters, the woman, her sister, her parents, the guards, the nurses, everyone that is immediately involved in the trial and the case.
It certainly sounds like your themes are very much about women who are in a situation that is difficult for them, but that they can find the strength to rise above it.
I think so. I always have loved writing about women and everything like that. And I feel like any books I do write are always going to be women based. I'm not going to apologize for it. I probably should, but I think I'm always going to write that way.
Fiction. Tell me about the women in your life. Some inspirations?
Maybe that's why my mother is probably my biggest inspiration. So that could be why I write about so many amazing women. She's inspired me. My granny as well, another major influence, and my stepmom as well. So I have a lot of amazing women around me, which is amazing and continuously inspiring, of course.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, these amazing women have certainly managed to make another amazing woman in you.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. Thank you.
Up the torch. Oh, I love that you're writing about empowering women. I think that that's just fantastic. With all due respect to our man that's on the call tonight.
I think he's so surrounded by women at the moment. So.
Absolutely.
We write about women, but we don't write about men.
You're just a character.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's very interesting that we're talking about that, because I've wondered myself if I ever were writing that the main character was someone so vastly different from myself, because they always say to write what you know, but even when you're writing about someone who's very different, I'm sure that every character you write has a little bit of a piece of you or somebody that you know in it. Is that true, Izzy? Do you know those people?
Absolutely.
I think so. I also think I remember the whole write what you know, and Someone Like You, my book, is about a female who gets pregnant when she's 17, and that personally didn't happen to me. I haven't experienced that. So I was there at my book launch being like, they say write what you know, but I had no idea what I was writing about. But I think it's write what you feel, or write what you're trying to understand and try to decipher it to the best of your ability, I suppose.
Yes, well, even though you might not have been a 17-year-old who found themselves pregnant, you were an 18-year-old writing the book. So
yeah, the age was okay.
A lot of things in common with your character. And while you might not have been in that position yourself, you certainly know what a young girl feels at stages. So you were definitely writing what you knew.
Yeah, for most of it, she was a normal 17-year-old girl. So in that sense, she was very alike to me.
Well, that's just fabulous. I'm wondering what themes might be out there for you next. Do you have like a notebook of, maybe I'd like to touch on this or that or something else coming up?
I do. I mean, Her Word, I'm really trying to focus on at the moment. But even with Someone Like You, I left it off in such a way that there could be a sequel. So I'm hoping to go back to that when I get the idea. For me, it really is, it just will come to me. And I sometimes feel the more I try, the less productive I am. So once I start writing, it'll just come to me. Hope, fingers crossed.
Oh,
I don't know. But
you said that, and I wanted to bring this, since I have 3 professional writers here, to writing tips for others. And Izzy, that was interesting. The more I try, sometimes the less I'm able to write.
Definitely.
And I want to hear that from Poppy and Moe too. What do you mean by that when you said that? Trying too hard, it actually causes writer's block?
I don't personally, I can only talk from my own experience, but I feel like I write my best and I have my best ideas when I have the urge to write. It's not something I am telling myself I need to do this right now.
Right.
And once I have the urge, then I get into a routine and then I feel like it all flows naturally. But if I have a week where I don't want to write, I'm not the kind of person who will make myself do it. If I have a deadline, of course I will. And if I need, to have those chapters done. But I think you need to take breaks and you need to write because you enjoy writing, not because you have to,
I agree, and I'm sure that Moe would agree because he's such an inspired writer. I want to address that to Poppy. As a ghostwriter, she is writing on a deadline. Poppy, how does that go if you're not feeling especially inspired at some point?
Deadlines help. They do. It's a good thing, and it's also a not so good thing, because since I've ghostwritten, I published A Bard's Lament and I'm publishing Oath at the end of this year, but I didn't work on the manuscripts themselves that much this year because they were both finished. So it's taking away a little bit from my personal writing time, because after 10 hours of ghostwriting, after 5,000 or 6,000 words, the last thing I want to do is sit and write. So
Exactly.
I've been taking a course, and the person said he writes in the morning before he does anything else.
Okay.
So I've started to try and do 500 or 1,000 words of my own stuff before exercising, eating breakfast, and then starting with work writing. But I don't get to do that every day.
No. sometimes life does get in the way, but almost to that, I had heard that Hemingway once said that at the end of the evening, when he would finish for the night, he would always stop in the middle of a sentence. He wouldn't, I think I have a tendency to try to get to the end of the chapter, but he would stop in the middle of a sentence and he'd leave it right there on the typewriter in the middle of a sentence. And the good thing about that for him was when he would come back tomorrow, he was never stuck. I think I sit down and I'm thinking, chapter 6, not sure what to do. But he was in the middle of a sentence, so it just started right up. I thought that was an interesting way to handle, that stoppage.
You're thinking, because most people try to get to the end of the scene and then they stop, right? But that's interesting. We should give that a try.
Give that a try and stop in the middle of a scene. And it's possible, who knows, that when you come back, the scene doesn't end the way you thought it was going either. We might meditate like Moe, or at least get a good night's sleep on it. In a very different scene than when we started.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's kind of fun as writers now. If some of you are on deadlines right now, you have manuscripts about to go out, but when you have the time, that might be kind of fun to try.
No, I'm definitely going to give that a go. I don't know about you guys, but I find I can be quite like higgledy writer. I will start writing one chapter and then get an idea for chapter 5 chapters down the line and start writing that and then jump back and forth and forget where I am.
Well, it's a good thing that we all have computers now and we're not.
Yeah.
When you would have to type the whole thing, you wouldn't be able to do that, I'm sure.
No, gosh, they were amazing, weren't they? I don't know how.
I don't know how people wrote, Wuthering Heights on a typewriter.
Yeah. Incredible.
Or any of the other greats, or we won't even go there with Shakespeare because that wasn't even a typewriter, was it? So
it's insane. It's insane. Like with the laptop, it's so nice, so easy.
I think we are spoiled. And the other thing I always tell writers that I'm working with that I think we are very spoiled at is we have phones with us. And I know for myself, it means I have everything with me. So if you're suddenly inspired, people used to write it on their hand. You could actually pull up your whole manuscript on your phone probably and just keep going with it if you're
out. 100%.
Sometimes I use my phone. Sometimes I use my phone to record. When I have like idea or something coming to me, I just have my phone. I start talking. And then when I go home first, sometimes I'm driving and there's something in my mind. I just start recording everything. And when I go home, I start doing stuff. Especially like when I have the short story tell me from where I am going to start and where I'm going to end. So it's everything is there. Just when I be like, for example, the story, which it was like only 3 pages, it became 6 books. It's like I start like writing about, for example, the main characters, the main dream, and I found myself I need to give more description, more tell people about the characters, their environment, what they face. I want to tell people what I mean by inspiration world, how this inspiration world gonna influence people, artists, especially most of my like characters, they are artists, like painter or Ksneia, she's playing flute, so most of them, they are artists or actors, so they are more in touch in that world, the world I mean where there's no space, no time, there's absolute satisfaction, you can touch, you can see anything, you can be anywhere, anytime, it's like you can feel the heart of any birds, like the beating of hearts of any birds in the world. In the same time, you can be with your people you love. You can be everything and you can do everything. So this kind of things, give me like, I know I have like 3 pages, but whenever I start writing about characters, I feel I need to tell more what's going on. And I found myself going back to their parents, their environment, what they do, or their school, how they met, and I found myself it was end by one book. So I sit with one of my friends, I tell him about two chapters of them, and he told me those two chapters could be a book because they are full with events and things, and you need to tell people more. And it's the nice thing you're gonna, yeah, and nice thing it is like journey. You learn every day something new, especially when you talk with people and try to communicate with them, tell them, and take their like advice. This is what do you think? It's like you learn everything every day. It's an amazing experience. I'm sure for everyone of you guys,
That's a great
the second book, it's not like the first book.
Yeah, no, that's a great thing for writers who are kind of stuck to think about. Sometimes you don't need more ideas. Sometimes the idea that you already have, like Mo was saying, it was
True.
it was 3 pages, and it grew into multiple books. So I think sometimes we try too hard to just come up with more and more and more, and it might be right there in front of us already. That's what I'm
That's true. That's true.
just amazing.
I have a question
That's
for
true.
Stephanie.
Yes.
I heard that you should write series to like generate more sales. So
Well,
I've tried to write a sequel for Oath, but it's kind of, I've got the beginning, but I can't really think of an ending because it was quite a nice standalone. Do you think writers should try to write a series?
there are fabulous standalones in the world. I mean, we've all read them. There are wonderful ones.
I personally prefer standalones. I don't want to enjoy a book and then be like, oh, I have to buy the next 5 now. Do you know what I mean? So
And there's no hard and fast rule. In genre fiction at the moment, and things can change, many people in certain genres like to know that there's going to be more. And I always say, do what works for the story. I mean, even people who write book series also write standalone books. People can write a 7-book series here, but this was a standalone, and that's fine. I don't think we should ever force a book to be something that it's not. But
yeah, because I've read some really good first books, and then I've read the sequels, and they've been really, I don't know.
You've seen some really good first movies, haven't you? And then they tried to make the whole thing out of it, and it wasn't
The Matrix.
A good idea. I think you should let your book be what it's supposed to be. Now, if you're talking purely marketing, I mean, books are the same as movies. Don't they try when there's a really good movie, #1, to capitalize it and make a whole bunch of them? And I get that, because once you get people involved in the characters, then it's an easy sell. And I think
exactly. Like I heard that.
It is an easy sell. And I think we all admit that. If there was a movie you never heard of, are you going to go to that one? Are you going to go to part 2 of the one you already liked? You're probably going to, if you had to pick, it's kind of like here, we have franchises. They're all over the world. And I always say of a franchise, if you pull into a town, you're on a road trip, and there's a McDonald's, and there's this no-name place, which one are you going to go to? Now, some people will say, that's it, I hate McDonald's, I'm going to the no-name place. But many people would rather go to the one that they kind of know rather than try something new. And that's the mentality around the book series, that if somebody liked that first book, then when they see that you have a second and a third, it's an easier sell. But
that's the thing, isn't it? But I also, I'm sorry, you weren't finished.
I would say to take a book that ended and force, movies, and they force them, man.
You can really tell too, and books too, like.
You can tell. But if on the other hand, like it sounds the way Mo was describing how his books, that he realized that this one short story in a book, this one thing, could become its own world and its own book. And sometimes it lends itself. We can't do everything for marketing now, Poppy, can we?
Right, exactly.
I know.
I have another question about that. Sorry, can I ask one more? I was also thinking, like, they said you should have a free, or you don't should, but it's a good idea to have like a free short story for like newsletter signups or something. is it a good idea to like, I've started drafting origin stories for the characters of Oath because I didn't really want to write a sequel.
Right.
Is that a good idea?
Oh, that sounds like a really great giveaway. Certainly the idea of a giveaway is that when people come to your website and you want them to become fans and sign up, to say sign up here means nobody's going to sign up there. If you say get this free, they want it. And the free thing could be a short story, it could be a prequel, it could be a character study, it could even be, let's say you had a fantasy story, you might give away the map of the world. And that might be your free giveaway, that you have some maps going on if you're doing fantasy. So there's lots of things that you can do. It doesn't always have to be something separate or a novella or something like that. But it is a good idea because we humans do like the word free, don't we?
Yeah, we like free stuff. Well, also, if they've read that origin story and it's like, oh, by the way, this character is a big part of this novel, it surely would drive the sale, right? If they enjoyed that short story.
And that's the goal, is we want our readers to become more than just readers. We want them to be raving fans, so that every time you're dropping another book, you've got a whole lot of people out there who are just dying to hear all about it. That's the goal. That's the goal. But to do it in a way that the books are organic. Does that answer a question?
Thank you so much. Yes.
I hope so. My goodness, I can't thank the three of you enough for how much I think our audience is getting a gold mine here, because they are not just getting 3 fabulous books to read. Boy, did they learn a lot about writing. I just want to remind our audience before they forget that you're authors besides being great teachers of writing too. Poppy Kuroki of A Bard's Lament, and it's poppyinjapan.com. I love that domain. Is that correct?
Yes, that's my travel blog. I also have just poppykuroki.com that leads to all my social media and the travel blog and my book blog too. But yeah, Poppy in Japan is the travel blog, and that is the one I gave to you. You didn't make any mistakes. That's the one I sent to you. So
travel, I want it all. and Moe's website for his book is thebirdwiththeblueblood.com, and we heard all about the inspiration behind The Bird with the Blue Blood, and that was just amazing. And Izzy Hodder?
Yeah, and if they want, excuse me, and if they want to check some of my work, artwork, it is the same thing on the Facebook. You can check it out. Mine on Facebook. It's The Bird with the Blue Blood Studio. You can see some of my work there.
Oh, we are always in favor of checking your artwork. And Izzy Hodder wrote Someone Like You, and we have a new book coming out in the next month or so from Izzy.
Oh, no, not the next month, but sometime in the future. In the next year.
That was me. That was Oath is coming out.
Okay. Poppy is
nice.
Izzy is sometime in the future. We're going to keep up with all of you. And I can't thank you enough, because I'm telling you, what an inspiration to writers everywhere. To our viewers, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Love you, Tree.
Thanks for joining us tonight on Between the Covers. If you love